Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome back to English for Beginners, the podcast. I am Jasmine, and as always, I am absolutely delighted to be here with you today. This is the place where we take English apart and put it back together in a way that is simple, human, and very easy to understand.
And I am Mark. Hello to all our wonderful listeners tuning in from every corner of the world. Whether you're driving your car, cooking dinner, or just relaxing at home, we are so happy you chose to spend some time learning with us. Before we dive into our big topic for today, we have a small favor to ask. If you find these lessons helpful, please take a moment to like this episode and subscribe to our channel, English for Beginners, the podcast.
That's right. When you subscribe, you help our community grow and you make sure that you never miss an episode that could help you on your journey to speaking English with confidence. Today, we are talking about something that every single learner needs. It is the secret ingredient to sounding less like a textbook and more like a real person.
Today, we're learning how to connect our sentences. Many students tell us, Jasmine, Mark, I know many words and my grammar is okay, but I sound like a robot when I speak.
I hear that every day. People say one short sentence, they stop, they think, and then they say another short sentence. It sounds a bit like a drum. Beat, stop, but real conversation should sound like a river. It should flow.
Exactly. And the good news is that you don't need to learn 1,000 new words to make your English flow. You only need a few very small, very powerful connection words.
We call these connectors. Today, we are going to focus on 5 main ones: and, but, so, because, and or. We will also talk about how to use pauses to make your English sound natural.
Mark, before we get into the details, let's talk about why this is so hard for beginners. Why do we feel so robotic when we start?
I think it is because we are taught to focus on the perfect sentence. In school, you write one sentence, the teacher checks the period at the end, and you move to the next. But in real life, our brains don't think in separate sentences. We think in ideas.
That makes sense. So if I'm thinking about my morning, I don't see 3 separate pictures. I see one long story.
Exactly. Let's look at a robotic example first. Jasmine, tell me about your breakfast in separate, disconnected sentences. Okay, here I go. I woke up, I felt hungry, I made eggs, I ate them, I felt better.
Wow. You are right, Jasmine. That sounds very formal and a bit cold. It's correct English, but it doesn't sound like a friend talking to a friend.
Now, how can I use our connectors to make that sound like a real story?
Try using and so. See if you can bridge those ideas together.
Okay, let me try again. I woke up and felt really hungry, so I made some eggs. I ate them and I felt much better.
Much better. The listener can follow the story without feeling like they are reading a list. You used and to show one thing after another, and you used so to show the result of your hunger.
That felt much more natural to say. It actually felt easier because I didn't have to stop my breath every 3 words.
That is a great point. Connecting your sentences actually helps you breathe better when you speak English. Now, let's look at our first big word, and.
And is the king of connectors. It is the simplest way to keep going. Think of and as a bridge. It tells the listener, stay with me, I have more to say.
Right. We use and to add information. For example, I like coffee and I like tea. Or for actions, I went to the store and I bought some milk.
It is very safe. If you're stuck and you don't know what to say next, just say and while you think. It keeps the conversation alive.
Now let's talk about the word but. This is the word for contrast. It is the word you use when there is a twist in your story.
I love using buts because it adds personality. If I say, I wanted to go for a walk, that's a normal sentence. But if I add, but it started to snow, now I'm telling you a story about a change in plans.
Exactly. But prepares the listener for something different. The movie was long, but it was very interesting. I am tired, but I'm happy to be here.
It balances the sentence. It shows that life isn't just one direction, it has different sides.
Now let's move to so. We touched on this with your breakfast story, Jasmine. So is all about the result.
I use so when I want to explain why I did something. It was raining, so I took an umbrella. I was late, so I took a taxi.
It's a very logical word. It connects a situation to an action. Beginners often forget to use so and instead use two separate sentences. But if you use so, you sound like a much more advanced speaker immediately.
That is a great tip. Now, what about the opposite of so? What about because?
Because is the reason word, while so gives the result at the end, because gives the reason at the end.
Let's compare them. I was hungry, so I ate. Result, I ate. Or I ate because I was hungry. Reason, I was hungry.
Both are perfect, but because is very common when we're answering questions. If someone asks, "Why are you learning English?" you start with, "I'm learning English because."
It's a very important word for building relationships. When you give people reasons for your feelings or actions, you are connecting with them on a deeper level.
I agree. I am happy because you are here. That is a much better sentence than just, "I am happy."
Now, we have one more simple connector. Or. This is the word for choices.
Or is very useful for making plans. Do you want to study now or later? Should we go to the park or the museum?
It keeps the conversation open. It shows that you are flexible. We can drink water or juice. It's a very friendly word.
So we have and, but, so, because, and or. These are the big five. But Mark, I want to talk about something else. What happens when a learner forgets these words? They're in the middle of a sentence, their mind goes blank, and they panic.
That is a very real moment for every beginner. My advice is do not be afraid of the silence. Use a pause.
Yes, a pause is also a connector. If you say a sentence and then take a small breath before the next one, your intonation, the music of your voice, can connect the ideas for you.
Let me try that. I missed the bus. I had to walk. I didn't use a word, but because I kept my voice a little bit up at the end of the first part, you knew I wasn't finished.
Exactly. You didn't drop your voice like you were finishing a speech. You kept it moving. That is a very pro tip for beginners.
Mark, let's talk about some mistakes. I often hear learners using too many connectors. Is that a problem?
Oh, yes. I call it the and trap. I went to the park, and I saw a bird, and the bird was blue, and I liked it, and then I went home.
It sounds like a little kid.
It does. It's okay for a while, but it can be very tiring for the listener. The secret is to mix it up. Use and once, then maybe a so, or maybe just a short sentence followed by a because.
Variety is the spice of life and the spice of English. Another mistake I see is people trying to use very big connector words they find in books, like furthermore or nevertheless.
Oh, please avoid those in casual conversation. If you say furthermore while we are having coffee, I will think you are reading a legal document to me.
Exactly. Stick to the simple words we are teaching today on English for Beginners, the podcast. These are the words native speakers use 90% of the time.
Let's practice this with a real-life scenario. Jasmine, let's imagine we are talking about a bad day at the office. I will start, and you respond using connectors.
I'm ready.
Hey, Jasmine, you look a bit stressed. What happened?
Oh, Mark, I had a very long day. My computer broke this morning, so I couldn't finish my report. I tried to fix it, but I'm not very good with technology.
That sounds frustrating. Did you ask for help?
I did. I called the IT department, and they were very nice, but they were very busy because everyone's computer was having problems today.
Oh, no. So what did you do for the rest of the afternoon?
I decided to work on my paper files, or I just organized my desk. I ended up doing both because I wanted to feel productive.
Well, you survived. Do you want to grab some dinner now or just go home and sleep?
I am very tired, but I am also very hungry, so let's go eat.
Perfect. Listeners, did you hear how Jasmine used those words? So, for the result of the broken computer, but for her lack of tech skills, because for the busy IT department.
It felt like a real conversation. It didn't feel like I was doing a grammar exercise.
And that is the goal. We want you to use these words as tools to share your life.
Mark, let's give our listeners a little challenge. We will give them 2 sentences, and they have to think about how to connect them.
Great idea. Sentence 1. I love learning English. Sentence 2. It is sometimes difficult. How would you connect those, listeners?
You could use but. I love learning English, but it is sometimes difficult. This shows that even though it's hard, you still love it.
Or you could use so. Learning English is sometimes difficult, so I listen to English for Beginners, the podcast.
I love that one. That is a very smart result. Let's try another one. Sentence 1. I am going to the supermarket. Sentence 2. I need to buy eggs.
You could use because. I am going to the supermarket because I need to buy eggs.
Or you could use and. I am going to the supermarket and I'm going to buy some eggs.
Both are correct. It just depends on what you want to emphasize.
This is why English is so flexible. There isn't always one right way to connect your thoughts. There is only your way.
That is very true. Jasmine, before we finish, do you have any final advice for our listeners who are practicing this at home?
My biggest advice is to start small. Don't try to make 20-word sentences. Try to connect just 2 ideas first.
That is excellent advice. If you can connect 2 ideas with an and or a but, you are already winning.
And don't be afraid to talk to yourself. When you're at home, describe your actions. I am making tea because I'm cold. I want to watch TV, but I should study.
I do that when I learn languages too. It sounds funny, but it works. It trains your brain to find those connectors automatically.
Also, remember that your voice is a connector. Don't be afraid to sound excited or surprised. Your emotions help the listener understand how the ideas are connected.
If you were using but to show a surprise, let your voice sound a little surprised.
Exactly. Mark, I think we've covered a lot today. I hope our listeners feel more confident about building bridges between their sentences.
I hope so too. Remember, everyone, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be clear. Use your connectors, take your breaths, and keep the story moving.
If you found this episode of English for Beginners, the podcast, helpful, please share it with a friend who is also learning. Learning together is always better than learning alone.
We are so proud of the progress you are making. Every time you listen to us, you are getting one step closer to your goals.
Thank you for joining us today. We can't wait to see you in the next episode.
Keep practicing, keep connecting, and keep smiling.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.